This is Maurice LaMarche, also known as the Brain from TV's Pinky and the Brain, and you're watching ConStars. Yes!
Did you feel any pressure coming into the show?
100%, absolutely. This is an amazing show. It's done so much. There are so many people who love it. And I think that's part of what drives us to try to do the best we can to tell stories that are still unique to this world that feel like the world.
Mm-hmm. Good answer. And I was fortunate enough, since Nicole and I are married, to be able to catch up with everything as she was catching up, watching the 7 seasons previously before, which was good preparation for it. And also the pressure is to please you, because
And Hasbro, and Monopoly Man.
And Hasbro, yes, yeah. So
And since Nicole and I are married, or not.
It's the three of us.
The three of us. But Brian and I have the same birthday. Though we're born a year apart, but people are always mistaking us for each other.
I am, so obviously.
So, for me, I came to the party a bit later, but Nicole had this part in mind for me, or had me in mind for the part, as she was writing it, because I guess she knows what bigot I am. No, I'm kidding. Speciesist. Yes, I do prefer dogs to cats, I'm sorry to say, in my real life. Oh, sorry. Yes, I am controversial, if nothing else. So, I'm very aware of that the fandom of this show is very dedicated to it. And I wanted to pay proper homage and recognize, that it is addressing a very important value. And, because people feel marginalized all over. And so for this character to be who he was and to have him change and learn something was very important. I wanted to make sure I put that across. So I'm honored to be a part of the Ponyverse now, and hopefully I've done you guys and the fans justice with this character.
Were you trying to do something more than just the voice you're known for?
Well, yeah. I try not to make him, Brain completely. I try to bring a little bit more bass to him and a little bit more projection, and because Brain is Brain, and he belongs over in Acme Labs. So, Naysay, I used a bit more of a stentorian kind of thing with him, and I just brought what I actually despise in the real world, which is bigotry and hatred and authoritarianism. So I brought that, as much of that as I could, to him. And it seems to have worked. But in terms of his vocal quality, I know that people have said they hear Brain in there. I guess there's a bit of me in Brain, but I really tried to use just a deeper, more authoritative version of my own voice for Naysay.
Yeah, if I can jump in, he tried a bunch of different voices for us as we were starting out.
Really?
And so when we heard what he ended up doing for Naysay, we were all like, okay, wait, stop, that's it. It just felt right to everybody in the room. There's almost kind of like a little bit of Harry Potter villain in there too, which is something we were doing a little bit with that character. You guys have probably picked up on the references, but so that's kind of nice to kind of color your voice with that, I think.
And if I can jump in too and flatter you again, Mo, as I do all the time. I love the end of the season episode when you do have your redemption, but it was like that character made a small movement. It wasn't like all of a sudden you became the nicest guy in the world through your voice. You could see there was a little bit of change, but he was still that character.
Yeah, he's got a ways to go.
Yeah,
still hesitant.
So it was like, but it's just how people change.
Yeah.
How's it different writing for the main 6 and the student 6?
Do you want to take that first? Because you've got a couple episodes.
For both, you mean?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of difference. They're all such well-drawn characters, and even though the young 6, are relatively new compared to the main 6, they're still, you just guys did such a great job creating them, giving them backstories and everything, and making them so diverse that, it's just more about writing for each character than thinking of them as 2 different groups, because they really are kind of so well drawn. That's all I have.
Yeah, inheriting the main 6 was it's such a gift because they, like as you said, they're such well drawn characters. You know how they're going to react in any given situation. They're really easy voices to kind of pick up and know. And so our challenge in creating the Young Six was to try to, while still kind of representing a new group of elements, just as the pillars came before, like why is there always the sixth and then a seventh? When we were making the students, we were thinking that we want to make sure they are not just clones of the main six, but have elements that tie them a little bit. So if you drew lines, as the Tree of Harmony did with, its magical lines at one point, you could figure that out too. So, but yeah, that was the biggest challenge, to make sure they had fresh voices from the main six, because we really wanted to kind of protect those characters, and the show is about the main six.
Was there ever plans to get Rob Paulsen?
Well, one of the special reasons, actually, is Rob Paulsen Canadian, or is he?
He's actually from north of Canada. He's from Detroit.
Oh, well, there you go. One of the reasons we were able to get him over the show is that he actually was born in Canada. And so, as you know, it's really tough to be able to do the paperwork to get LA actors to be in the show. So it was kind of like this beautiful thing when we were like, wait a minute, I remember. It was from there.
That's right, eh?
So it's a little extra challenge.
Yeah.
Is there another show you wish fans knew you from?
I would say, for me, I wish fans knew me more from Transformers Rescue Bots.
Oh, really? You were Rescue Bots?
I was Chief Charlie Burns.
No kidding!
I was the patriarch of a family of first responders.
Yeah, I watched that whole series.
Yeah, I love Charlie Burns. I love all the characters, the cast and the writers. This is how we became a family almost. So we got close doing the show, and we would go out and socialize. After every recording session, we go across the street to a lovely restaurant that George Clooney owns and have dinner there, and it was just great, and I wish that show was still going on. It's done it forever.
It was still the longest running Transformers series. That's an impressive.
Well, there's a reason
feat.
for it, because it had a heart. That's thanks to these two. They wrote to the heart and the love of family, and the conflict was all man against nature. We had a one villain, and even he turned out to be not all bad villains. So
Yeah, I mean, it's not as brutal as the previous generations,
No.
but there's a good charm to it.
yes, there
It's
is.
very kind of you to say thanks. Yeah, that's something that I'm really proud of, and I'm so glad we got to work together on
Yes,
that.
yes,
And,
indeed.
Yeah, and you do form a family sometimes with people that you work with in these special situations. I feel like the voice actresses on My Little Pony, same thing. And we were all, for each other. When someone had a wedding, we were there celebrating. If somebody had a death in the family, everyone came together to support them. So that's a really special thing when a show can do that.
Same for you?
Yeah, Rescue Bots, that is still, I think, my friends Tigger and Pooh, which I co-created and executive produced, always have a place in my heart, because it's where Nicole and I worked together before we got married. We dated someone who didn't know that. But the Rescue Bots is still, I think.
Then I will finish it off with this one last thing with Rescue Bots.
What was it like working with Tim Curry?
Because was there any issues with him since he had the stroke recording him?
So yeah, unfortunately.
He actually only did one season of R4, because he had the stroke after we recorded the first season.
Oh, wow.
And we had to cast that role. It was sad that we had to recast it, because, my God, he was so great.
Incredible.
If it makes you feel any better, according to someone I met who did a private signing with him, he said he's still funny, he's got a good sense of humor, and he's sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for your time, guys.
Thank you.